From Carolla One Studios in Glendale, California, this is the Adam Carolla Show. Adam's guest today, Chris Hansen, with Gina Grad on news and Bald Brian on sound effects. And now, inviting you in for some sweet tea and Toll House cookies, Adam Carolla.
Yeah, get it on. Got to get it on. No choice we can. I mandate you get it on. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for telling a friend. We love that about you. Right, Gina Graham?
That's right.
And Bob Brian.
I take it you're a virgin.
Oh, yeah. Chris Hansen. Cannot wait. All right. So I will talk to him about his illustrious career and Catch a Predator and all that good stuff. And I forgot I did Catch a Contractor, so it's kind of people confuse me with that.
And isn't that why they always said, "Oh, I love your show, To Catch a Contractor"?
Yeah, or maybe that's what it was called. I
don't think it was.
Was it called Man Show or The Man Show? I don't know. Anyway, I have a new commercial that is and on our theme of oversharing in today's New World Order, where they talk about things that formerly they didn't talk about. You know, we had when I was growing up, yeah, it was the mom and the daughter, and she had that not so fresh feeling, and the mom was going to coach her up on walking on the beach, and now we have a talking hoo-ha. Somebody tweeted me a commercial that, again, with the ladies, had nothing to do with the vagine, but situated just behind the vagine, mere feet is the anus.
Feet?
Well, I said mere.
Yeah. Okay, sorry.
Or it could be less.
Yeah.
The point is there it is, right there. And there's another commercial in the oversharing department. It's the Garden of Life probiotics.
Oh,
so, talking anus. What's next? The mouths. I'm right.
Yeah, it's going to be like that. God, what was that? What was that sketch where the stomach played the trumpet?
Was it SNL?
I don't think it was an SNL.
Stomach played the trumpet.
The belly button played the trumpet, and it was a semi-famous thing from like the 80s. Oh, we'll find it. Find it. Mark it down, Max Bat. It's. I don't, or maybe it was just a thing like the jackalope or something. It was kind of around,
like viral video.
Yeah, but
are you thinking Total Recall?
It would show up on shows. It would show up on those incredible videos and stuff. You put a big head on, and such to the point where your belly button becomes the mouth,
it's whistling. Is that it?
I think they played the trumpet. Oh, they could have whistled and played the trumpet, but then they would play Flight of the Bumblebee behind you, or the saber dance or something. It's out there. Anyway, let's play the commercial. So it's a woman sleeping.
Being a human is hard.
She wakes
especially
up.
If you're a woman who's also having trouble doing that totally normal thing all humans do, but
going into
not
the
all of them
bathroom.
like to talk about.
Oh, are you talking about pooping?
Let's just say Garden of Life's doctor-formulated women's probiotics help your digestion so you can be a more regular human.
I'm comfortable talking about poop. You can just say poop.
It's 2021. I think everyone knows that women poop.
I love pooping. You poop, girl.
Plus, did you know that
they're sitting on the pot talking about pooping?
Garden of Life can help support immune system health?
Oh, are you poop-splaining me right now?
Wow. Don't be shy about pooping. Pooping is powerful.
This is my favorite part of the day. I poop. She poops. All women poop. I'm a woman, and I poop. I'm a woman, and I poop.
I'm a woman, and I poop regularly.
Thanks for the poop-powerment.
I'm not saying poop-powerment.
I'm pooping right now.
Look for Garden of Life, the number one probiotic.
I do this mainly just to watch Dawson's face.
Wow. They just made it worth it with the pooping right now.
About my vagina now?
Okay.
They broke through the porcelain ceiling.
That's right. They did.
Wow.
So this is prime time, man. And
that aired on TV?
In full disclosure, somebody just sent it to me, and I watched it. Wow. But fresh off the heels of the talking vagina, which I did see on CNN at 10:30 in the morning, I'm saying this is the same genre.
Yeah. Sure, Chris, find the director.
You know, speaking of the talking vagina commercial, we have unearthed some footage.
Oh, no.
Yeah, you want to check it out?
Yeah, here we go.
Feed me now!
What's that?
Must be blood.
All
Treating
right.
my yeast infection with Fimiclear. Kills over 99% of yeast.
What a tight,
It's all
it's a
natural
tight shots on
and organic.
vaginas.
So instead of chemicals, my hoo-ha is full of joy.
Must be fresh.
Fimiclear. Joie de hoo-ha.
Missy Mo.
Yeah,
that was
there you go.
unnerving.
It's a pretty good song.
There you go. All right.
Jesus.
Trumpet. I feel like with the velodrome and now the belly playing trumpet, I feel like I dropped some acid in the forest, and I'm trying to figure out
Hallucinating
what
for a decade.
exactly is going on.
I've definitely seen the whistling. The trumpet doesn't ring a bell because I don't know how that would work.
Maybe-
Just put it up to your belly button.
Yeah, and then you just swing it
Yeah.
around,
Yeah.
or maybe it's the whistling and the trumpet. Either way,
You have to imagine if one's capable of one.
yes,
Yeah.
they're surely capable of the other. So anyway, now we got poop. Now
Wow.
I will say this. A very small percentage of Americans definitely beat off to that commercial because that's a thing.
That's true.
Come on.
Number one. Number two, in a world with women's commercials where there's no longer the spokesmodel, but they will sprinkle in a couple of hotties. That was 5 chicks that were battling the bulge a little bit. Now, maybe there's something to do with
They're
taking a
backed up.
dump and
They're
they're
backed
backed
up,
up.
dude.
But
Come
I
on.
wonder if as you make, you had the vagina chicks were pretty hot. That's all
That's
I'm
true.
saying.
The
Like,
yoga
is there
chicks, yeah.
something of putting in a chick who's a little too hot on the pot? You know what I mean? Is that going to
You won't buy her as a
people
pooper.
going?
You don't buy her as a pooper.
Well, I'm just saying it might inspire certain guys in certain things. You know what I mean?
That's interesting. I took this as more of like an 80s comedy approach to female comedians when you weren't supposed to be hot. You
Yeah,
know, like
but
this
they're-
is like a non-sexual topic.
They were all, I wouldn't say pleasantly plump, but they all had a little extra on them. And
Yeah.
there was 5 different chicks. I'm saying if you put Rebecca Romaine on the pot.
She wouldn't do it. She doesn't have to do it.
She doesn't do it.
Yeah.
Heroes don't do that.
Right.
All right. So anything with the stomach trumpet? No.
No. I mean, Gene, I did find the whistling.
You find the
stuff that Gina
whistler?
was
All right.
talking
Well,
about,
let's see the whistler, and we'll see if
give me a moment to load it
appetizer.
up.
see if the
Well-
trumpet comes up.
While he's doing that, I brought this up, I think, when we originally looked at the singing vagina commercial. And again, I don't know if these are on TV, but they are all over Facebook. There's an Instagram. There's a product called, I think it's Lumi, and it is very vagina forward, and it's a deodorant. So we are there.
Stick or roll on?
Looks like a stick.
The gel.
I
think I saw Vagina Forward at Lilith Fair.
second stage or main stage?
No, second stage.
We're
okay.
missing the original drummer, but still rocked.
Well now, all right, now he's got the belly with the face paint and the person doing the whistling
In his
playing that
underwear.
in his underwear. Yeah, lipstick around the belly
I
button.
mean, I feel like you're right. This was a thing.
That's Jim Carolla with an assist.
Inspired.
All right, Max Bada, this would be like a big paper mache head that went over the shoulders and over the top and just left the belly out
I didn't
to do that. We'll see if that exists. All right, anyway, tell me if you guys are down with this. It's happened to me 2 times in 12 hours, which is, and this is a public service announcement. If somebody says, and I don't know how you guys all take your coffee, but if you want cream in your coffee, a little bit of cream, especially real cream, whole
Heavy cream.
Yeah, a little bit goes a long way.
Sure does.
And the people who don't put cream in their coffee, if they say to you, "How do you want your coffee?" and you go, "Oh, let's put a splash of cream in there," we'll go glunk, glunk, glunk. This shit comes out the color of Halle Berry.
Yes.
It's like, oh, that's not a little cream. But in their non-cream world,
That's
it's
a
like,
little
I'm
cream.
adding cream. Like they sort of pour it like they're making a mixed drink.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Like they added like they
Like
would
half
add
and half.
milk.
I
which is
want
very
I
different.
want 7-Up and Tanqueray. And they go, okay. And they just kind of go glunk, 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 glunk. Well, there's your drink.
Yep.
And Rhino put some cream in my coffee, and he brought it to me. But it's like, now it's not half cream; it's just way too much fucking cream.
Right.
And the thing is you could add more if it was necessary, but you can never get it out of there.
Take it away.
I've just started to teach Tesla this lesson. You can always add more. You can never add less. I have to put it in 4-year-old terms.
Yes, I was at a firehouse last night eating dinner.
I saw that.
Yeah, tell us about that.
I was walking down the street in Malibu, and the sun was shining, and I passed a fire truck that was just parked along the street. It wasn't a full-blown fire truck. It was kind of the rig, you know, the big...
The half-seas?
Yeah, it had like the dually rear wheels and the stuff in the back, but it didn't have a tank on it. Didn't have a ladder on it. It was sort of the fire truck, but not a fire truck. And some dude behind the wheel, 55, 60 years old, and he's like, "Hey, Ace Man, how's it going? Welcome to the neighborhood," you know. And I started talking to him, and it became apparent that there was a firehouse that was right on the corner that I passed by all the time. The reason I take note of firehouses is two reasons. I decided when I was 19 that firemen had to be the greatest gig ever. And again, when they tell you their schedule, they go, well, 1 day on, 1 day off, then we're 1 day on, 2 days off. And it's like, you got a lot of days.
Yeah.
You get a lot of days off. I don't know, Max, if you can find it, but like LA County or whatever firemen, they work like 13 days out of the month or something. Now, they're there the whole time.
It's typically, as well, you probably talk to these guys, as far as I know, like 3 days in a row, then like 4 or 5 days off.
Yeah, whatever it is, it sounds better than I got to show up at 8:30 and punch in,
Right.
and if the boss isn't looking, I can leave at 5 every day versus I'm just there.
And when you're just there, there's cots and chili.
Yes, they're all. So, but what I do is I'll drive around, and if I see a firehouse, like there's one that's at the bottom of Coldwater where the Beverly Hills Park is.
Yes.
There's a park right there, and it's like, that's beautiful. And you got a whole park. Your front yard's a running track and a putting green.
Yes, and there's one on Balboa Island. Spectacular!
Right,
It's gorgeous!
Right, so you got to, and then there's one in South Central where it's like, well, we got a call because a woman tried to take a soldering iron to her infant. You know what I mean? Right. You got to roll on all those calls versus, you know, Ava Gabor got her poodle it's in the jacuzzi and they need you to fish it out. You know, and she's going to make you cookies. You know, like, yeah, it's just like, that's a sweeter
Better
gig.
gig, yeah.
And ostensibly, you live the row of houses along PCH across the street from this fire station are $10 million. And some are $50 million if they're on like the double lot or whatever. The low end on that run of PCH is on the beach side. The lowest of the low end is $4.5 million, and that's for 700 square foot weird shack.
Oh, is this fire station that's up a little bit?
It's like off Sunset?
But no, it's on PCH, but it's like tiered.
It's tiered. Oh. It's up about 20 feet. And if you're there,
they have a Smokey the Bear sign.
You essentially live in multi-million-dollar real estate. Yeah. You don't own any of it, and your house isn't next door. But like, I walked into that place, and I was like, I can see the ocean from the kitchen. So you guys sleep up top, right? And he's like, yep. I'm like, so you get the full view. And he's like, oh, yeah. And that's where they live half their life.
Nice.
You know, then they go back to Simi Valley or Fraser Park or something, but that's where they are. Plus, the temperature's always 72 degrees. I mean, it's nice. And, you know, anyway. So I would always look at that fire station and go, that's a sweet gig. Now, I thought you had to earn your way into that fire station. See, I figured that's where they put the seniority stuff. Like, you know, when you're an LA County sheriff, the first 3 years you spend in the jail, spend in the prison. You know what I mean? Like the rookies go to the fucking prison and deal with the hepatitis and whatever else, their race riots. Then at some point at the end of the line, you get dispatched to be the LAPD guy or the sheriff guy who's on the set of movies.
Right.
In which case, you know, you just tell craft service, bring me over a plate of, you know, I'll take the ribs, you know. And so, but they don't give that gig to the rookie. Right. So I thought you earned your way to the cool destination firehouses. I was wrong.
Every firehouse needs rookies. To polish the cars and do the shit work, basically.
And in general, a lot of guys coming out of the academy don't want to go there. They want to go where the action
You're right.
is.
Yeah.
Those guys are on brush fires.
Yeah.
All the time.
Yes, and I was going to say the Balboa one's constantly on the run. Why? So many old people.
Right.
Tons of old people calling in for heart conditions or I can't breathe or whatever. Like we hear sirens every night.
So these guys they didn't get into fighting. They didn't want to be a fireman to fight brush fires. They wanted to go into the warehouse. They saw a backdraft.
Right.
You know what I mean?
You go,
Not
we go.
Little House on the Prairie. Right. So that was interesting. The other thing, so most U.S. Firefighters are 24 hours on, 48 hours off.
Okay.
So it just goes back and forth. That sounds like a pretty chill, look, you got to work.
Especially when sleeping is built into those 24 hours.
Sleeping can be interrupted, but built in. Dinners, they cook in the kitchen, whole 9 yards. So anyway, past the guy. Guy tells me he's a big fan, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, you're at this firehouse? Like, yeah, stop by, check it out. So I brought him dinner.
Ooh.
And again,
what did Olga make them?
Bought it. It's always been a dream of mine to live a life as a fireman. So I actually
Look at that.
went in there, and first things first, I forgot how much I love firemen. Firemen, they're the best. They're the best comedy. If you could say, well, who do you hate the most? Well, publicists. That's the worst. They're the worst.
Sure.
They're the worst. And who's second? TSA. And who's third? Meter maids. Certain jobs attract certain people, and it's just a certain kind of dude. And also, I just love a dude.
Right.
But I don't love a jughead
meathead.
bro
Yeah.
meathead.
This is a chill
I
dude.
want a dude with like a dash of professional
Right.
and a dash of education and what have you.
Sense of duty.
And
Dudes.
firefighters they're the perfect bouillabaisse of all those sort of combos that you like in a dude. So
Did I tell you that my grandfather was a fire captain?
Oh, yeah.
And he worked his way up, and he was a captain of a firehouse.
yeah, he must have been a good bro.
I have a shield. He's a good bro. No, I have a shield from his helmet.
They say the apple doesn't fall too far from the tree, but in this case, that tree must have been on a fucking
Well,
hill.
several generations. This
Okay.
is, the grandfather. It's really hurtful.
So I went in there and sat down with all these dudes, and they have their kitchen and they have their thing, and miraculously, no calls for the almost 2 hours I was hanging
Somebody
out.
disconnected the phone.
Cut the line.
Ice Man was there.
They're all talking about, the one guy's grandfather was a fire captain, and his dad was a fireman, and he became one, and they're showing pictures of their kids.
It is kind of a family biz in a sense.
Yeah.
If your dad's, in the biz, you're likely to be one.
Just
consider
one guy's got a daughter who plays professional beach volleyball, and it's just they're bragging about their family. It's just salt of the earth. Could have a conversation, got references and stuff, but still had that dude base, And it was it was a great evening. I got to tell you, it's like the kind of thing that you'd probably think you would never do. Maybe why would you? But I got to tell you, and I don't know what version this is for anyone listening, but you find the local firehouse, tell those guys you want to buy them dinner, let them set the date, go in and talk to them.
What a great idea.
It couldn't fucking hurt if you ever blew in a call and someone was trapped under a girder or something. But
you think they take their time if you didn't buy them dinner?
Found out that the great Dick Butkus lived up the hill.
Wow.
Because they were name dropping.
How about that?
Bears.
But it was just nice. First off, they appreciate the shit out of it.
Yeah.
They love it. They love hanging out. By the way, no allergies, no gluten issues.
They didn't tell you no peanuts?
No
Didn't tell you
restrictions?
no nothing. You just bring whatever you got.
How many veggie sandwiches?
They go right in. So that was a wonderful experience. There were a couple aspects of it. Now it was interesting because I was saying to those guys my old story. Like I wanted to be a fireman, and then I went and signed up, and then they told me have to wait for 7 years, and then I finally got my test date. Then I passed my written test down at Hollywood High on a Saturday morning, and then I went and took the physical test, and they knew what I was talking about. Oh, yeah, that was the old one. They had to do the step with the 40-pound hose pack on and stuff. I was like, yeah, I can do, because I was a horrible student, Dumbo, but I was physical all day long.
Right.
I was doing construction, playing football, boxing and stuff. It's like I could do anything. So I was like, well, I'm not going to pass the written test because I can't pass a written test, but the physical shit, that should be no problemo. And then when I passed the written test, I was like, oh, shit.
Gravy.
You're in.
Now you might be a fireman. And I did all the hose packs and all the push-ups and all the stuff that they've all lightened up now because I think they're trying to get more ladies involved. But I said, then I did that goddamn rope test. Couldn't do it. Couldn't do it. And it's a
Which
test.
one's the rope test?
They have about, I'd say about 20, 25, 30 feet, big pulley on top, big wheel. Rope is attached to 50 pounds or 40 pounds or 70 pounds or whatever it is. Goes up, loops around the pulley, comes down in front of you. Then there's a line, and the line is about 3 foot back from the rope. So you can't stand under the rope and grab it and fall down and pull up. You
body weight.
have to kind of lean forward, you know.
Jesus, who can do that?
And I said, it's the one thing you kind of have to practice because there's a trick to it, which of course I never knew. So I said, I leaned forward, I grabbed that rope. I think they give you some, farmer's gloves. I said that all it did was slide through my hand. It just slid. I'd pull it. It'd come up like 2 foot, and it would slide through, and I'd grab there. I don't have
trick leaning back and getting momentum
and wrapping it around your forearm.
Yeah. They don't let you. I don't think they don't let you lean back. I think you have to lean forward and do it. I don't think you can wrap it against your forearm. But I said, I don't have a very good grip. I'm pretty strong, but my grip's not that great. And I just slid. It just slid right. And every guy at the table at the same time, like, raised his hand and turned it to the side. He's like, you grab it, you turn it 45 degrees, you pull it down, grab it, turn it, pull it down. They all just looked at me and did that. And I was like, oh, that was it. That's how you do it. All I needed was that one piece of information, and who knows what be a fireman.
So it wasn't a strength test. It was some sort of like escape room test.
It was like, first off, who's going to really strengthen their grip? You know what I mean? That's kind of a hard thing to do, and it's also a thing that if you don't do that technique, even if you have a strong grip, it's going to be a tough slog. So you have to turn it. And again, you turn it like 45 degrees, and then you pull down. You get a little bite, and that's how you do it. Never knew it. Never spoke to anyone. Wished I had the internet back then. I would have figured that one out. But anyway, greatest dudes in the world. Had a lovely dinner and a lovely conversation with these guys, and there they are.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So that's why I'm wearing the hat. They gave me a hat. It's, what's it say?
70.
Los Angeles County 70 Fire Department.
Station 70.
Yeah. So that was...
Shout out to Station 70.
Yeah.
I swear to God, I was done eating dinner with these guys. I was like, that was a great night.
Nice.
Like I was like, I don't know.
What did you bring?
Went to Marmalade Cafe.
Oh, nice.
Got pot roast. Can't go wrong with pot roast, especially the firemen. Mashed potatoes, green beans, chicken piccata.
Damn.
And
treat them right.
They provided the dessert, actually. Yeah, they got a whole working kitchen over there.
Of course.
Anyway, they all have a sense of humor because they're just dudes, and but they're all like proud of their family, and they're kind of proud of what they do, and just it's good, especially in this crazy world we're living in. Just like guys, they're patriotic. They have this real sense of duty. They're there. Yeah. It's important to them. They take their job seriously, but they don't take themselves seriously. That's awesome. That's what you want.
I think we're big amongst firefighters because I think I told the story when it happened 4 years ago. I remember Tessa was a baby. There was speaking of crazy, there was a crazy person on a roof in our neighborhood. He was like, he had committed some crime and ended up on a roof, a single story house, of course, in our neighborhood, maybe a block away. And fire trucks everywhere, police everywhere. And we're like, what's all the commotion? So we walk on over there, and there's a firefighter outside of his truck. We're like, what's going on? He's like, crazy person he wanted for whatever. He's on the roof, and he goes, hey, by the way, big fan. Like, oh, thanks. He's like, I love the show. We work just at the fire station on Pico, like Pico and Overland, basically. And
people.
Yeah, Lou. Shout out to Lou if you're still there at the fire station.
Yeah, it's right in the demo because all these guys seem to know everything about me. They probably hopped on the IMDb, found out I had Crohn's disease. Or came there.
I was doing okay, man.
Or Wikipedia or whatever one puts the weird information up there that you can't get down. The other thought, which is, so here's a concept. The blue collar dudes, those dudes, and these dudes, big forearm dudes, like big hand dudes, like it does not attract the petite. These are sturdy dudes, and their kids. One of their kids was, thinking about playing this close to playing professional football. They're athletic, strong dudes,
sturdy,
and they're all dudes that were jocks in high school. I'm sure. Now, here's the thought, and it's anecdotal, but you guys tell me what you think. The jocks are a pain in the ass when they're 19 and pumped up with testosterone and getting in everyone's grill and wanting to throw down and everything like that. You get those guys after 45, you got the best of all worlds.
Mellowed out.
You got the jock mentality, but the mellow. It's basically, you know how nice prize fighters are or octagon fighters are after the fight?
Right.
Like they're gracious. They're congratulating the other guy. Yeah, they're being humble. Right. They're thanking God. Like that's kind of what it is. The nerdy guys were pretty inert in high school, didn't do much, not in anyone's grill or anything. Those guys get worse as time goes on. And then when they get some juice, now they're working over at CAA or something. Like, oh, fuck, I got to deal with this
Ari Gold.
fucking piece of shit munchkin. Right, Ari Gold from Entourage. So it's like, I realized that the nerds are probably good like 0 to 30, but once...
They're getting younger.
Once they get a little more seasoned, you want that ex-jock. They got it out of their system. They're mellow. And by the way, you can poke fun at them. Like they don't want to throw down. Like they're friendly. They're not interested in proving anything to you. That's the whole thing. Right.
I can yes and the shit out of this and give you the world's best example. The meanest, like just stockiest, like brick shit housest guy that went to our high school, just like the typical like pushing people into lockers and just being a dumb bitch the whole time. Never knew what happened to him. Nobody that wasn't friends with him had a good memory of him. Turns out at our last reunion, I found out he went up to people individually to apologize for the way he was in high school. And I didn't know him at all, but he was like, I guess he had a big list, reached out to me and said, I didn't see you at the reunion. I just want to say if I was ever a jerk or anything, I am so sorry. So this happens every once in a while, I guess.
The other realization I had, not connected to this, but connected to the beach, we do our rich man, poor man.
Indeed.
I was trying to figure out a new segment called like Old Guy, Young Guy, which is stuff you didn't want when you were young, which you do want when you're old, or vice versa. So it dovetails with my when you're young, you take all your shit off to get in the pool. When you're older, you start putting shit on. Like, where's my swim shirt? Where's my big rimmed hat? Where's the paba? Where's my zinc? Where's my shit? Like, you do start putting shit on to go into the water. There's a beach, and the beach has, I can't quite explain it, but it's a little private beach, and you have a key card and you can access this little private beach. And with the little private beach, they have a lifeguard and they have staff and whatever. And I go into the ocean all the time. And I walked in the other day and it was like 5 in the evening. I was like, all right, I'm going in the ocean. And I was like, waves look a little rough. And then it was like, no lifeguard. And I was like, shit, where's the lifeguard? But when I was a kid, all I did was pray that the lifeguard wasn't
gone. Yeah,
there.
they were the
Please,
narc.
can they leave so we can fucking start having some fun?
Yep.
And when I had this moment of like, oh,
there should be a lifeguard.
There should be a lifeguard here. I was like,
not.
oh man, I'm old. Now I'm old because the entire first half of my life is like, we gotta get that fucking lifeguard out of here so we can fucking party.
We should call it Sonny Carolla old man because he had the same thoughts as
Right.
a 14-year-old. Where's the lifeguard?
Well, he wouldn't go in the ocean
That's a good
because,
point,
as
yeah.
he stated,
You beat me.
97% of the ocean is unexplored.
97.
That's a lot.
Or maybe it's 90. Well, he may be shitting out a number, but the point is as long as the vast majority of the ocean is gone unexplored,
no can do.
How can he get in 3 foot of water in Malibu?
Not the part he'd be in.
Yeah.
Nowhere near the part he'd be in.
Parts are well
It's
explored.
just the ocean, Gina.
Got it.
It's not
Okay.
this part or that
And
part.
did he not tell you this while he was wearing black socks and sandals? I'm pretty sure that
He's
was
not
part of the story.
He's not a sand fan.
It's not a beach baby.
All right, let's see. Let me hit Morning Wire. Is Chris Hansen here already? Is that a true statement?
Yeah.
Well, you can taste some caviar with us.
Oh, okay. Yeah, well, maybe we'll bring him in early because we're going to do a little caviar tasting. Morning Wire, America's trust in the media is at an all-time low. So-called respected news channels are state propaganda and virtue signaling. Well, here's a new alternative. It is Morning Wire. It's put on by the Daily Wire. It's about 15 minutes long. I've listened to it on a number of occasions. It'll get you all caught up in a sort of bite-sized morsel of what's going on in the world today. Daily Wire's conservative, but they'll give you both sides of every issue, and it's very well put together, and it's very well directed, and it's very well produced. And it's brought to you by the folks over at the Morning Wire. John Bickley and co-host Georgia Howe. Episodes drop every weekday on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts. Subscribe now, and you can hear the trailer. If you like it, leave a 5-star review to help Daily Wire provide a source for Americans so they can wake up and something they can trust. All right. Well, we should take a break. Maybe we'll bring Chris in early, and he can try some caviar. The caviar story is, I was never a caviar guy, but good.
No.
Because why? Yeah. Why? I love Saint-Tropez.
You're going to find this hard to believe. I know you think I love the finer things in life, etc. Not a caviar guy.
Salty little fish
Not a
eggs.
hero there.
Well, let me tell you about caviar. It's a lot like cocaine.
Oh,
Go
do tell.
on.
You do it all at once?
You get the cheap shit that's been stepped on, and it's got fentanyl and baby powder in it and
Trader
stuff.
Joe's caviar.
And you're like,
cocaine.
all I do is feel sweaty and weird
Right.
and sped up.
Bad taste in my mouth.
Oh, I had a friend who worked on Miami Vice.
Oh, really?
Came home one day, said, "Oh, this is what cocaine is in Miami," and I was like, "Oh, this is the best. I've never felt better in my entire life. This is the greatest news ever."
I'm going to go paint the house.
What you pay for?
I was
Caviar.
I was that way with, I was caviar. I was like fish eggs, salty, weird. But a year ago, when I told you guys that Mike August, his whole thing is he walks through lobbies of hotels, he walks through airports, and he listens to people's conversations. You know,
He listens to everyone's conversation except the people who are talking to him.
And if somebody says, they own an RV dealership, he'll just like stop and go, "What if we took that RV and we put the Carolla signage on it and you gave it to us for a month and then we would drive it and we
Always
could do a
thinking.
live
Yeah, he's smart.
podcast, So
Opportunist.
we were walking through a hotel after doing a show in Seattle. I think it was. Maybe it was in Portland. Anyway, nice couple. Someone said hi. The guy made a mistake and said he was like an executive chef. And Mike was like, "You like cooking?" "I like eating." And the guy's like, "Yeah." And I'm like, "Yeah." And he's like, then the guy made a big mistake. He's like, "I'm a big car guy."
Oh, boy.
And then Mike's like, "You coming out, you're going to come out to Car Week over in Pebble Beach?" And he's like, "Well, I'd like to." And he's like, "Well, why don't you come on out and bring your meat?"
I smell a barter.
Next thing you know, this guy's got the best steaks you've ever seen in your life. He's cooking everything up. He's doing everything. He's in our Airbnb on a Saturday, just going fucking sick. And then he pops out the caviar. And the caviar was like, I'll wait for the steaks, Not this caviar.
Really?
This caviar was like $2,000 a tin.
Okay.
And he put it on a Ritz or something. It was like, I was going out of my mind. It's like, this stuff is awesome.
Sure.
So,
Yeah, I'm curious.
There is caviar, and then there's caviar. This is stuff we're all used to. We get at the truck stop.
Yeah, Trader Joe's caviar.
The vending machine.
And then there's the real stuff. So now, what was this story, Chris?
So during the meet and greet, when I was selling merch, I just happened upon a conversation with one of the fans out there, Leanne, and she mentioned that her and her husband, who is also there, own a sturgeon farm. Oh. And in my brain, I only know one thing about sturgeon farms, and that is caviar, because there's this really great Gordon Ramsay video where it looks like he's nutting his pants, just tasting it right out of the sturgeon. It's the most amazing video to watch, just seeing Gordon Ramsay just be that infatuated with the food, and it was caviar. So we talked about caviar for a while, and then she said, "I'm overnighting you guys some caviar."
Whoa!
We got it sent yesterday. We received it, and we thought, let's eat it on air and have her kind of guide us through what we're doing.
What kind of fish does Russian caviar come from, or other caviar?
Oh, it's this one. This is a sturgeon. This is like a Russian sturgeon. It's sturgeon. That's the
one.
Fish. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
We'll have the caviar wrangler on the phone.
But she said that this kind is what James Bond would eat.
Oh my!
Well, let's talk to her for a second, then we'll bring Chris in. Leanne?
Yeah. Hello?
Hey, thanks for coming to the show.
Sure. Thank you so much for having us.
Thanks for sending over your caviar.
Oh, man. It was so much fun. I couldn't believe we were actually sending you guys caviar.
Where do you guys... Well, first off, Chris showed me an insane picture that you sent him, which is how much caviar is in a fish when you cut it open to get the caviar.
That was a big fit. That was a really big one. That's why I sent him that picture.
That doesn't even look real.
Brian, describe what we're looking at.
It looks like, or half the meat should be, there is fish eggs.
Millions and millions and millions.
That fishes look waist to head on that person, at least.
The fish looks all of 45 inches long.
It's enormous.
And wide and cut open, and then it just looks like the
half
entire
the
innards look like caviar.
It looks like a giant, like pool noodle.
Right.
You know?
Yes, that's exactly what it looks like. Wow.
Yeah, that was a particularly big fish. That was like 4 kilos in one fish. We usually get maybe between 2 and 3, but that was a particularly big one.
And where do you?
So it's always nice.
Do you ship everywhere? Where's your business?
We ship all over the country. This country, we're in North Carolina. So we were really happy to see you in Raleigh.
Where? What cities and states do consume the most caviar?
California is definitely one of the top.
Mm-hmm.
I would say after that it would be Texas.
Whoa.
Mm-hmm.
Louisiana. And then, well, I'm talking about consumes the addresses I see when I'm shipping out. I'm not talking. I don't know.
Yeah.
Probably New York and DC consume most caviar.
How much is a tin of your caviar, if that's in fact how we measure it?
Well, the one that you have was the 4.4 ounce one, and that one is $3.95.
Son of a bitch!
So that's $400 worth of
$100 an ounce
caviar.
Yeah.
Now, is $100 an ounce?
It's not anymore. If you go to any caviar, like that one, you're getting direct from the farm. But if you go to a distributor, they're going to sell the same amount for a little bit more. So,
is there such thing as cheap caviar that's good?
So no, basically.
I like that.
There's 27 species of sturgeon, and sturgeon are the only fish that produce caviar. There's another type of fish called like paddlefish or hackleback that are they look like sturgeon.
So they have like the fake crab version of this.
The Louis Vuitton.
And then what's
a lot of
what's the most expensive, and then why? Is it beluga? Is that what it is?
So, yeah, out of the 27 species, the ones from the Caspian Sea that are native to the Caspian Sea are the most expensive, and that would be number 1, beluga,
and
number 2, osetra, which is what you have, and then there's another Siberian species called Siberian.
What's number 1 an ounce? And what the fuck did you think you'd be doing when you were in high school? Because it couldn't be this.
No, exactly. But Beluga is the most expensive. It's probably like double the price of Osetra, maybe.
Yeah.
But you got to be really careful because there really isn't such thing anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So there's so none of these species of sturgeon are actually, none of them are from the wild. It's all farmed.
Mm-hmm.
There's no more of these sturgeon left in the Caspian Sea. So if it says beluga, beluga is really highly regulated, and it's extremely hard to get in. It's really hard to farm. They have to become they're 20 years old by the time they can produce roe. So that's not really available anymore.
All right,
but there is a lot of mislabeling.
And what's
I would say.
What's the best way to eat it? I swear to God, we ate our beluga stuff on a Pringles chip with some creme fraiche and the caviar or something on there. It seemed like the base didn't need to be that highfalutin.
Well, here's the thing. You can get beluga that's been sitting on a shelf for 3 years, or you can get beluga that was harvested last month. So depending on what it tastes like, you're going to eat it accordingly.
Oh, you mean your base, your substrate.
It's funny you say that because, we've been talking about little Bellinis or whatever. We did a wine tasting a million years ago for someone's bachelorette in Napa, and we were served it on house-made potato chips. So I think that's a thing.
Mm-hmm. Well,
yeah, it's a thing, but the real way to serve it, if you're really into it, is take a spoonful and put it on that fleshy part of your hand above your thumb knuckle, when it looks like a little nugget of muscle right there. You put it there and you just put your mouth on it and eat it, and that way you don't get any other. That way you can taste it and then kind of determine what you want to do with it next.
All right. So how long?
Tastes like lotion.
How long? Tastes like Purell. How long does a fish need to be in your farm before you can harvest it?
Mm-hmm. The species we raise is about 10 years.
Wow.
And then, it's a long wait. And mind you, that's all those fish are mixed male and female. So we got to get rid of the males as soon as possible. And you can't do that until they're about 4 years old.
It's like the opposite of China.
Yeah.
But you must eat the fillet them or something, and
hope so.
Yeah, what do you do with
horse
the
food
fish?
out of them or something?
So I sent you guys some smoked sturgeon.
Oh, now we're talking.
They were gonna. So you can actually
Max Pat has been playing that close to the vest.
That is not
of
true.
The smoked sturgeon.
Saw him licking his fingers when I walked in.
Jews,
I was cutting it.
He had scales all over his lips.
See, while you all do, the American breakfast, you think about hash browns and bacon and eggs. Jews will love a nice smoked sturgeon with some bagel and cream cheese.
All right. Well,
this is hot smoked sturgeon. It's a little drier because we're using heat, just hotter temperature. The cold smoked one that you get, the Jews is different. It's oily and a lot.
All right. Well, Leanne,
I'll let you know what the
take
Jews
a break. We're going to bring in Chris Hansen because if anyone knows sturgeon or eggs, it is Chris Hansen. And
I'm not an expert.
We'll put you on hold. We'll try it out. We'll communicate.
Okay.
Stand by.
All right, so stand by. We'll put you on hold. All right, we'll take a quick break. We'll bring in Chris Hansen, and we'll try some caviar right after this.
It's time to check Adam's voicemail.
Ace Man, get it on. Oldest thing in the world, newest thing in the world. Servers.
You can leave us a message at 888-634-1744.
Servers, tablets, the cloud.
Yep.
It's all coming back again. Chris Hansen has joined us. Predators Live with Chris Hansen's available now. It's a podcast, available now on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. And there's a YouTube show. Have a seat with Chris.
I had to.
You had to. Tilt your mic down a little bit there, Chris, just to get the direction right. We're all big fans, and this is and Catch Predator. All right. So first off, 6 Emmy Awards.
10, but who's counting?
Oh, boy.
Well, it says nominated for 11 times. That's just you. I mean, you did a lot of work before catch a predator.
Right. Actually, ironically, the Predator series never won an editor in Emmy. Those 10 are for all other investigative reporting and different shows we've done over the years. But we got nominated, I think, for the first Predator episode, but that was it.
Did it become too zeitgeisty or something? Like sometimes there's a little bit of a snobbery. Like, well, if enough people know what this is, then we're not going to nominate it.
Well, I think it did. I think there was some backlash. I think, look, there were some people in the industry who thought we worked too closely with law enforcement, right? But after the first 2 investigations where we saw people leave, and some of those people were in fact prosecuted after the fact, but it was unfulfilling as a television producer for the viewer to see these guys just walk away, and it was socially not responsible.
Right, I
to
mean,
have
not
law
to have the
enforcement
cops
involved.
there.
Right. So I think we worked it in a very reasonable journalistic way that met all the social responsibilities that were thrust upon us with this. We didn't know what was going to happen. I mean, we thought we knew, but we didn't know it was going to become all this. And so I was comfortable with the criticism, and we had to do it. There was no other way around it.
I've done some hidden camera stuff in my day. Not like that. Well, I did catch a contractor. It was like
I love
sort of that.
That was great.
But I do some man show bits, and and there's different wirings people have. It's uncomfortable, or some people like it, or some people are sort of numb to it, or something like that. But your job to walk out and confront the guy when he's eating his Toll House cookies and sweet tea with the guy holding the boom mic, a lot of people couldn't do that, or a lot of people have thoughts about it. Some people, it's a personal safety thing, like, hey, this guy may just grab a butter knife and go at my jugular. But in some people, it's like, this is so emotionally weird and uncomfortable. What was it like for you? Was it I'm doing justice and I'm like a part of this, or is it like, God, here we go again?
Well, it was a combination, Adam. You know, I had done a lot of spontaneous interviews over the years on different investigative stories I'd done for the network and in local news. But
is that a nice way of saying you sprung on someone with a microphone?
Yeah.
I gotcha.
The lawyers like spontaneous as opposed to gotcha interviews or ambush interviews.
But that's when you show the guy who runs the transmission shop. You get the clamshell video out. You open it up, and he's pounding a hole in the side of the elderly couple's transmission with a screwdriver.
You're in Guam, and you're approaching the doctor who you caught on hidden camera in Cambodia, going to a brothel where 6-year-old girls were being put out.
Oh boy!
You know, so you got that.
I'm out.
Exactly. So you're right in his face.
So you had a good base of that.
I did. But there's nothing prepares you for this exactly. I mean, I remember when we did the first investigation, now 17 years ago, which is shocking, in Long Island. The first guy walks in. Now I'm wondering on the way over there, what happens if nobody shows up? What if I've just wasted tens of thousands of dollars in the network's money? And with that, the producer calls, says, hey, 2 guys are coming in 45 minutes. Where the hell are you?
Right.
So you get there and you think you have it all worked out, but you're just trying to keep your heart, out of your throat and in your chest. And the first one goes pretty well, and the second one goes pretty well, and the third guy comes in, and by now the transcripts are all mixed up, right? Because it's our first time.
Right.
So I walk out there and I said, it says here you want to do this, that, and the other thing with a 12-year-old named Susan. No, that's not me. Excuse me. Go back and get the other transcript.
Her name was Rachel.
3 times before I had the right transcript to confront the guy.
Yeah, it's, God. But I used to watch the shit out of that show because I couldn't stop.
Quite the cult following, at least back then. Something that I reference on this show and in my life all the time is Perverted Justice.
Oh, yeah.
Genius name.
Yeah.
Would love to work for them. How did you even get hooked up with them? And do you love their name as much as I do?
I do. I do indeed. They're no longer in existence.
Damn it.
We use different ways in the more recent Predator investigations. We shot another one in Michigan just a few months ago for the new series. But I had been told about Perverted Justice by a buddy of mine who was a reporter. I came out of Detroit, and the fellow who took my place said, hey, have you heard of these people? And I said, no. And so I called, and I started to think, well, if we could combine their ability to go into chat rooms as decoys with our ability to wire a house with hidden cameras and microphones, it could be pretty compelling. And it, a lot of smart people weighed in on it, and I pitched it, and we did it.
And I imagine it was on their end, because I imagine this is part of it, so genius to have the man, always, I think, bring something specific.
Yes.
So he couldn't say, I don't even know how I got here. Oh, really? Then why do you have...
Yeah, what do you have, 7
Right.
condoms, cherry vodka, and,
Because that's what she asked for.
Yeah, it shows intent.
Yes.
Did the wild popularity of the show in the day impact Perverted Justice's ability to net these guys? Like, did it ever get out on a subreddit or some dark web? Like, hey, watch out for this.
We were in Long Beach doing an investigation, and it did get out in some chat rooms that Chris Hansen, Dateline, Perverted Justice are working, but we still had a couple dozen guys show up.
Right. Only a couple dozen.
I'll take my chances.
And we've also had situations in smaller towns in Ohio where we think word got out. We didn't have guys from that specific town, but we had guys come from hours away.
Well, it's also a thing where if that's your thing, it's like saying,
it's hard to keep you away.
I like streetwalkers. Well, be careful. There's a couple of police women who are dressed as brown. It's like, who cares? Out of my way.
Do you know how many times guys have walked in and said, I thought this could have been you?
Wow.
They say that on the show.
Yeah. My favorite is my two favorite parts of the show is that I have some questions. My favorite parts are when you ask what were you planning on doing, and the guys give in like shoot some pool,
hang out,
drink some beer at the park,
watch the Steelers-Ravens game.
Yeah, with a 13-year-old. Like, first off, it is weirder to drive from Fresno to Sacramento to shoot pool with a 13-year-old than it is to have sex. At that point, you're actually more bizarre.
Yeah, it's way more perverted.
In the last investigation in Michigan a few months ago, we had a guy who was a Michigan corrections officer, a prison guard, who showed up, who confessed the whole thing to me on camera. He was there for a 14-year-old girl, and I said, well, you have wife and kids at home? He said, yeah. I said, what did you tell them? Well, I was going to Home Depot to get paint. I said, what color? Graphite gray. It's like,
wow.
They got their whole story.
Yeah. That line does get long over at the Home Depot.
Yeah.
At least the one in Burbank. That would buy you a feasible couple hours.
Bailed out.
Jesus, criminy. Yeah, I also like when the Fresno Popo would yell at the guy to get down on the lawn, but they were tackling him anyway. They were always on top of
the guy with the hands up.
They did not go, lay down on the ground. The guy go, what? They just tackle him every single time.
Well, and 30 seconds before, he was told he was free to leave.
Oh.
Yeah. It's a bit of a mind mix
because
for
for a millisecond, they breathe like, oh, it's over.
Yeah, what's going to happen to me? And, I don't want to misrepresent it.
You don't say.
It's not up to me.
Yeah, you can go if you want.
Yeah. Has anyone ever made this argument? I should ask Mark Garagos what he thinks of this. But has anyone ever, then at some point it gets to court down the road. You got to get a lawyer, whatever. Now, the bait gal, she has to be 18 plus, right? You can't use minors for the bait, the correspondence and the phone calls and whatever.
Correct.
Can anyone make the technical argument where they go, I knew she was over 18. This was just like role playing. Like this. How old was the person I was corresponding with? She was 21. Well, there you go. I knew that's what this was.
How would you? What is your evidence that you knew that?
Well, I don't know. Ask Bill Cosby because he's poolside right now, sipping on a pina colada. Yeah. Like, I don't know. Would it work technically with the judge to go, the person I talked to was over 18?
It's been tried, and it's always failed because,
come on.
They make it very clear. Right, exactly. They make it very clear, the decoys do, and law enforcement does this without us all the time and makes successful prosecution.
There's precedent for it.
Right. If you have a picture of somebody who's undoubtedly underage and they say over and over again, I'm 13. Are you cool with that? Kewl. She's 13 in the eyes of the law.
Yeah, no, I get it. I just I like to think of macabre technicalities to get pedophiles on the streets.
On the streets.
That and car racing is your
That's
thing.
me. I like cars and I like pedophiles running free. Yeah. All right, you want to try some caviar, Mr. Hansen?
Sure.
Now, we got the smoked sturgeon here.
We should take a break.
Right?
Huh?
Oh, yeah.
This might take a couple minutes.
Yeah, you're right.
Give it its due.
Mm-hmm. Hold on a second.
Chris, do you have any questions for Leanne?
Leanne, who's farms the sturgeon.
Well, I'm very excited. I haven't had caviar in a while. It looks delicious.
Yeah, well.
Sturgeon, too.
You go to those other podcasts up and down the street, you don't get caviar. You may get a little
jerky. Get a chili dog if you're lucky.
Maybe a handful of mixed nuts and some tap water. But we serve caviar every day.
Yeah.
Tell the A-listers. They know where to get their caviar.
Exactly.
All right. Hey, Leanne?
Yeah. Yeah, hey.
Yeah, hey. I got a few more sturgeon questions.
Okay.
Do you feed them sturgeon food or something that would be entertaining to us? Like,
they
love Chex Mix.
Oh, they're sturgeon.
Like something.
Yeah.
Like, what do they eat?
Yeah, it's a food that's designed for that particular species.
And you want them to produce the eggs.
Yes, but I mean, we feed that to the males and the females, so it's not.
Oh, right.
I mean,
Yeah.
yeah.
And do they? Brian's got a question. Go ahead.
Forgive me, but these are unfertilized eggs, or are these just appear naturally in the female sturgeon, or what are we talking here?
Yeah, so by definition, caviar is pre-ovulated. I don't want to gross anybody out, but it's like when the eggs are still attached to the lifeline of the mother fish.
Mm-hmm.
So as soon as they're ovulated, then that's not a good. That you probably could get that from some places, but that wouldn't be good caviar. If it was if it was ready to be laid, then it wouldn't be good caviar.
Same.
Good. That's a good question. I never thought about that. All right, Leanne, hang on, because we got so caught up in Catch a Predator. That was my show.
This is my favorite day, by the way.
You guys had a crossover episode. What the hell?
Catch a sturgeon.
Wow.
All right, we'll take a quick break. We'll come back and hold on. Now this guy, when I was at Car Week at Pebble Beach, he put some creme fraiche on there. Now, is that considered training wheels
Is that
or
gauche?
bacon around your liver? Like, what is that? Is that for the kids?
It all just depends on your own taste, honestly. Like if you taste it first, and then you're like, I'd rather have it with creme fraiche, or I'd rather have it with this or that. I mean, it's all up to you.
Tallahassee
we
shit.
prefer it. We just eat it out of the can with like some alcohol.
Yeah, there you go. Oh, we have a little vodka with us.
Is that what
I believe.
this is?
Yeah. Just sipping on it.
Is there a special vodka that we need?
I mean, I prefer one that's made here in North Carolina, which is called Social House, and I think they sell it nationwide. It's really good. It's better than like some of the other I like Kettle One, but this one the North Carolina one I kind of like better than the Kettle One.
All right, but it's to be enjoyed with a little vodka.
Show keeps getting better.
All right, Leanne.
Vodka, champagne, whatever.
Oh, yeah. All right, hang on. We'll take ourselves a quick break. We'll be back with Chris Hansen and Leanne and sturgeon. Sorry, wrong egg. Caviar right after this.
And now, a totally innocuous word that sounds dirty when Mike Dawson says it.
Pucker.
Ew. Let's get back to the Adam Carolla Show.
Well, Chris Hansen is with us, and Leanne, who works at a sturgeon farm where they harvest eggs. Yeah, and she sent it out. I met her when I was in North Carolina after the show, hung out, thought it was interesting, so she sent us out an offering. Now, should we try the smoked sturgeon first?
I think she's going to walk us through it.
What do you want to do? All right, I'll put her up.
Yeah, Leanne, what do we do? How do we do this?
Well, you can take a slice of that sturgeon. You can put a tiny bit of caviar on it.
Ooh la la.
Eat it.
Mm-hmm. All right. I'll put that down there.
And you can drink a little bit afterward.
Okay.
Excuse our fingers, Chris.
Done and done.
Not a problem. I'm going to use mine too. Here we go.
All right. So first we go the keto version here, which is we put the.
I mean, I do that. Like, I don't really eat much carbs, so that's, if I'm going to eat, I either eat it straight or with the sturgeon.
So, just because it'll make me laugh, what did you think you were going to be doing when you were in high school? Or did you have an eerie premonition you'd be stuck on a sturgeon farm?
I don't remember anymore.
Did your guidance counselor ever push you this direction?
Is there a test for that? Or
something you married into?
I don't know. I thought it was going to be like a, what do you call it, Dutch realist painter.
Oh, really? An artist, huh?
Leanne, is this your full-time gig? I mean, I don't want to get into your business, but is this profitable enough to be like your full-time gig?
Yeah, it's not. It's more than full-time.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I just had the smoked sturgeon with the caviar, and it was delectable.
This is insane.
I don't know how you remove the fish from this much fish. Like I feel like I'm eating every part of the buffalo here, but it doesn't have that buffalo flavor
Right.
to it.
It has
so good.
Slightly creamy, slightly briny. It's beautiful.
Mm-hmm. Now, what
So
kind?
that caviar.
Yes. Sorry.
Sorry, go ahead.
Well, we have these wafer thin. I mean, for the keto folks out here,
Yeah, this is nothing.
What are they called in the Catholic Church?
it is
The Eucharist.
Yeah.
The Eucharist. I mean, it is
It's a host.
This
Right.
is yes. This is less the cracker. It's almost just a substrate. It's something to put things on. It is thinner.
Can I come back tomorrow, too?
Than an
Maybe
eighth of an
tomorrow.
inch. Yeah, this is.
Yeah, it's neat
Unbelievable.
how they can make those without them breaking in the packet. I don't know how they do that.
Best,
Yeah.
best caviar I had by far.
Oh, really?
Oh, I mean, I've
Jeez.
not had great caviar, so this is like a revelation.
Yeah, let me see.
This is incredible.
Wow.
I'm ruined for all other caviar.
We got to give Leanne a plug. What's her?
Please.
Is it Marshallburg? Is that what I'm looking at?
Yeah, Marshallburg Farm. We're in North Carolina. We're the only Osetra caviar farm in the country.
Wow.
Molly.
So if you
Marshallburgfarms.com.
Marshallburg Farm.
Farm.
So just a little factoid, about 80% of the caviar we consume here in the U.S. is from China, from Chinese farms.
Oh, screw
So
them.
you have another option. There is another option, and it's really no more expensive. It might even.
By the way, Chinese caviar sounds like it's like I trust you about as much as I trust Chinese caviar. Okay, dude. So you pay in full before you get the van.
There's a saying. I've heard a saying that like people living in China don't eat the caviar there. They order it from like other places. So
Wow.
yeah.
So you said 80% comes from. What's that? 80 comes from
80%
China.
of more than 80% of the caviar consumed in this country comes from China.
Wow.
So they dumped a bunch of caviar on us about like eight or 9 years ago.
We're still eating it?
So caviar is supposed to sell for about $1,000 a kilo wholesale, and they dumped a bunch of $250 per kilo
I don't know if
wholesale
we.
stuff, and all the distributors here just ate it up. They loved it. So it's hard. It's really kind of detrimental to the domestic.
I don't know, Chris. We still have a contact for Ted Cruz, but the next time he goes on one of his rants, like you guys are worrying about double masking. Meanwhile, China's ripping off our military secrets, our technology, and they flooded the caviar market. That would be
Joe
a great
Sixpack
rant.
will
wouldn't
really get rallied around that.
And then just yelled, "Look it up." Wow, this is good.
Don't
This is
sleep
like-
on the smoked sturgeon. That is
so
lovely.
Oh, no, that's great.
This is like the definition of umami. It's just salty and amazing.
Well, I have a question about feedback. Do you think the smoked sturgeon is too salty?
No.
It
Very
is
good.
salty, but it's appropriately
It's
salty.
perfect.
Not too salty. I've gotten a couple comments that it's too salty, but it's
Let me
like
try.
because of the regulations, it has to be a certain salinity to for the FDA,
No.
so it's hard to
That's
alter
what smoked
it.
fish tastes like.
Yeah, it is salty
Yeah.
by its nature, but it's appropriately
What do you
salty.
think would happen if we served this at a predator investigation? Like on the
Oh,
kitchen
they'd
counter?
stay.
Would you like some
on in.
caviar, some sturgeon?
Come on in
Bit of
for
champagne.
some Veuve Clicquot
It's like a
and
12-year-old.
Sturgis-based caviar, huh?
That's from North Carolina, you know.
Got to sip this vodka.
Yeah, we have a little shot of vodka here. So, as far as
Incredible.
like smoked sturgeon goes, so if you got a kid who just wants to eat Hot Pockets and white rice, then that kid's going to think it's too salty.
That's
But
a
if
good
you get
point.
hold of human beings who
Right.
go, I'm in the mood for smoked sturgeon, those
want it.
human
Yeah.
beings will not say
Right.
that it's too salty.
We know what we're in for.
Oh, yeah, that's true. There's this, actually, talking about Hot Pockets, I have a 6-year-old that, loves them, but the other kid loves the smoked sturgeon
Ah, yes.
and the caviar, and
By the way.
she'll eat it out of the...
Here's a problem your kid's going to have, Leanne.
A
In
lot of problems, I already
Yeah,
know.
but in a world where everyone is rounding down with their tough Scrabble, the rough Scrabble childhood, like I had Gavin Newsom in here 6 years ago, and he's like, "Hey, man, I come from a divorced family. Like, we didn't have, we had to work, Yeah, okay. So everyone is trying to work this angle of, well, we weren't. No, we were upper middle class, upper middle.
We only had the one house.
Dad had a couple of Mercedes dealerships, but he didn't give me a free car when I was 14. Like, everyone's kind of rounded down. Your poor son is going to have to be like, we had to eat caviar every night.
Right out of the tin.
Don't give me this white privilege bullshit.
Oh man, well, to balance out the hot pockets, we just raised some cattle at our house for like beef, and it helps. I think it helps like balance things out because they'll become friends with the steers out there, and then we have to send them off and get them slaughtered, and they
grow up fast.
I think it's good. I think that it's great for them.
Just don't let them name
out
them.
the hot pocket.
Yeah.
Hey, Leanne, for you, back to what you wanted to do in high school. This is your husband's farm, or him and his dad, started this thing, or how did you get into it?
So about 13 years ago, my dad, who's really awesome, just plunked down a whole bunch of money on starting this farm.
Wow.
And then my husband actually was like the top grunt worker for the construction of the facility. Mm-hmm. So he knows where all the pipes and the wires and everything are under the concrete, and he does a lot of building and that type of thing.
But your dad underwrote
we've just been in it ever since.
Wow.
What?
Your dad underwrote the whole thing.
Yeah, he had this. He retired. He retired and then couldn't really settle down. He's got kind of a. He's a Korean male from like.
13 years ago, I told my dad I needed $900 to start a podcast. He told me to fuck off.
Yeah, well,
sorry, son, would never be a thing. He's no future in it whatsoever.
No future in podcasting. Now he's got a Guinness Book of World Records.
Yeah. Well, there's a flip side to that. Can be just as detrimental for sure. So anyway, but.
Well, let's not. Let's not take a turn for the dark. The point is your product is amazing. Yes. And, I like that you harvest the eggs, you take the dudes who are worthless after the age of 3, and you smoke them, man. It's all it's all good. This has been fantastic, Leanne.
We listen to you so much, like while we're feeding the fish and like working on the farm and like we just listen to you the whole time. So like it feels so good to send you the caviar.
Well, thank you, and this is awesome. And, one of Marshall Berg, by the way, is the name, farm.com. Thanks, Leanne. One of the kind of nice things, I like it's kind of like I travel around, I do shows, people give me challenge coins. I'm in this unit, I'm in that unit, I'm with this fire department or this drug enforcement, whatever. And it's just kind of, people do a lot of stuff, they're proud of it, they like it, you travel, you see them, they share their story, they give you samples, and it's nice.
Sturgeon samples?
Yeah, I would order some of those. Oh, yeah, sturgeon for sure.
Yeah, this is good stuff. Treat yourself. I know Loxamana's dying to get in on
Come
this.
on.
That's his whole thing. He's riding high because the Philippines won their first gold medal.
Yeah, we'll get into that.
In history.
That's right.
By the way. Yeah. Not a good sign for a nation. And like on one hand, you should be proud, but you should be ashamed. First one ever.
I'm only proud, and I'm eating caviar and celebrating.
That's right. All right. Let's talk a little more to Chris Hansen over here. So, Catch a Predator. We were talking about bringing it back or filming new episodes.
We filmed some new episodes, and some of them we put on the YouTube channel, Have a Seat with Chris Hansen. We do a lot of different things there. And then we're also putting together a new television series, and we're in meetings as we speak to decide where that's going to go. And I'm excited. If you'd asked me back when we did the very first couple if we'd still be at this, I would have doubted it. I figured we'd do it 2 or 3 times, and we'd have nothing but video of me taking a nap on the kitchen counter like the Maytag repairman,
right?
That nobody would show up. But yet today, and one of the reasons why we wanted to do the podcast, Predators I've Caught, is because imagine this. When we first did the investigations, we merely had decoys in chat rooms at AOL and Yahoo. Well, today, the number of social media platforms upon which a predator can approach a kid has exploded. I can't even keep up with them. The cops can't even keep up with them. And so, especially during the pandemic, when more kids were online more often, the number of predator approaches skyrocketed. The National Center for Missing and Exploited Children said they're up, like 900% or something like that.
Well, and the other thing we've learned from your show is we're talking all walks of life. We have the white guy, we have the Latino, and my favorite, and I know a fan favorite, the rabbi.
Yes, who was in the Herndon, Virginia investigation outside of Washington, D.C. before we had a parallel investigation going with law enforcement. Yet he was prosecuted after the fact. The FBI investigator prosecuted, did 6.5 years, and has been in and out of prison a number of times since then for violating his parole.
Oy.
So this guy, and we got into this in one of the podcast episodes, this guy is actually in a therapy session when he's visited by his parole officer, and he's not supposed to have an internet-related device without permission of the parole.
I mean, he can't have a smartphone.
He's not supposed to have a smartphone. While the parole officer is in the office of the therapist, where he's supposed to be getting therapy for being a sex offender, his illegal phone goes off.
Oh, no.
And the probation officer catches him. Back into jail he goes.
Oh, boy.
KEWL.
Yeah, I mean, look, I guess it's a disease. I don't know what to call it. I mean, I don't think... I think if most of these guys had a magic wand and they could wave it in front of themselves and they just like middle-aged single women, they would do it. But I don't know that it's possible.
It's
for
a
some of these
combination,
people.
though. I mean, some of the guys, who are younger, who may be socially inept, who see someone who's 13 or 14 and think, well, in a couple of years this will be okay. I think those guys can get probation and monitoring and registration and never do it again. And we've seen some cases like that. Guys go on to become successful members of society. But you have this other group, the hardcore guys who can never be fixed.
Right.
They have to be in prison. And a guy who's in between who may or may not be acting out on it, but because of the internet and the addictive nature and the anonymity and the 24/7 access does. Right. And these guys keep coming back. And I guarantee you that all the guys who told me it was their very first time and they were just coming to check on the girl and they're going to wait with the girl until the parents got home, 99% are lying.
Oh, yeah, 99 point something have to be lying at that case. Do these guys have a through line? I mean, does there seem to be a certain age, a certain status, a certain amount of college? I mean, does there seem to be a prototype for these guys or a profile?
It's all across the board. I mean, we've seen a doctor who was an executive as well with a cutting-edge cancer cure biotech firm in the Bay Area. No, he ended up, he fought it. He had money and he fought and finally, he had to face the music. And he died just recently, unrelated to all of this. And we've seen guys who, work everywhere, the lowest level jobs to the highest level jobs.
So when you think about the doctor, I don't know what age he was when he crossed your path.
48, 49.
You got to figure these guys have 20 years
It's a lifestyle,
on this, right? They didn't pick it up on their 45th birthday.
No, but I think some of these guys saw an opportunity because of the internet, because of the chat rooms, because of the access, the anonymity, and all of that. So maybe they would have been hanging out at the schoolyard or the movie theater or the food court at the mall or trying to be the bad Little League coach or the scoutmaster. But nevertheless, given the opportunity, they go for it.
Is it up now? I mean, you were talking about 900% increase. I mean, it's like, in a weird way, it's kind of like because of the internet. Most people wouldn't confront someone they disagree with and get in their grill and square off with them, but they would hop on Twitter and call them an asshole and tell them I'll kick your ass. And so the internet has sort of just facilitated this behavior.
Right, and you wouldn't be exploiting your children on television, although that happens, but you wouldn't be doing it to the level it's being done without YouTube and some of these other platforms that allow it with virtually no regulation. I mean, we're working on a story now about some of these quote-unquote mommy bloggers who are so over the edge exploiting their children.
I am so happy to hear you say that.
I mean, I got off a call before I came here. I was on a call with one of my producers and a couple lawyers who are involved in this space, and it's shocking. And then when somebody with another podcast calls them out, then they're wrongly accused of something horrible like being a pedophile because they know that will stick, and this war breaks out between the guy who's trying to call out the bad people and the bad people trying to call out the good guy.
You know,
I mean, it's mind-boggling.
Another version of that is like the little kids on YouTube who do like either toy reviews or unboxing. It's like, you think it was that fucking 5-year-old's idea to start a YouTube channel, or you think mommy and daddy are like, see, like some dollar signs in the
right? And this isn't like acting, where back in the day, Mickey Rooney,
well, there's an infrastructure. I mean, back in the day, it was maybe not
they
quite
figured
so.
out that you had to put this money away for the kid,
right?
But there's no regulation here.
Yes.
This is the wild, wild west, and we see it all the time on YouTube. They'll crack down. For instance, if we do a Predator show on YouTube, they won't monetize it because it's socially sensitive content. Now, I don't care. I don't do YouTube for money. I do it because it's an important space, and we, get a lot of good story ideas, and they turn into television shows sometimes. But a guy who's abusing kids, who's under investigation by multiple law enforcement authorities, is monetized.
Right.
You do the math on that. You tell me why. Now, I understand that I've been a thorn in YouTube's side and called out the CEO and have ranted on that. And so I'm probably getting targeted because of that, and that's fine. But there's no equity there.
Yeah. Gina, sorry.
I'm imagine you've been asked this a million times, and this is kind of the behind the scenes stuff that, all us fans always wonder about. The waiver, in what world, in what universe would these guys allow their story to be on TV?
Well, we don't have to get a waiver.
That was my question.
Because it's a news program, it's a journalistic endeavor, and we are covering the commission of a felony as it happens.
So it is not up to them. There is no.
No, it's not like. And by the way, there's no law that says that we have to get your permission to put you on TV. It's a courtesy to prevent a lawsuit or liability down the road by somebody who appears on your show.
Has anyone
let me
ever
answer
sweet
your
talked?
question.
Yeah.
I did a show called Crank Yankers.
Oh,
right.
You have to get them to sign something because you can't use them without their
this
permission.
Is a news
in that scenario.
genre.
Right. But a gift certificate to Godfather's Pizza. And most people will. You'd be surprised what $40 worth of gift certificate can get most people.
I would not be surprised.
Most people to do.
Has anyone ever sweet talked their way out of appearing, like by begging or by whatever?
No, we had a guy once who showed up in Riverside where we had 51 guys show up in 3 days, right? And
51 in 3 days.
In our backyard.
In Riverside County, California.
Wow.
Right?
They were communicating. Just happened to be there.
Yeah, exactly. So this guy shows up. And he's a sad sack, right? And I can see he's got a scar on the side of his head. Now, he was shown in the show, but he didn't have a major role. And, he's going to get prosecuted. Hopefully he gets help and all the right stuff, but he wasn't all there.
Mm-hmm.
A month later, we're in Long Beach. Here he is again.
Oh, no.
Oh, no.
Okay, so we figured this out. He says he can't come on a Friday because he's got to be in court. Well, it's a court hearing for the previous case. And then he shows up on a Saturday, and we find out through our background check, that he had spent a year in jail for a violent assault. Well, he's making the movie now.
Right.
So there are varying degrees of, is this guy a compelling character or not? And those are editorial decisions we make versus who's on for an hour and who's on for, 10 minutes.
Right.
But there's been nobody who's been left out because
they begged,
sweet talked their way out of it, or bought their way out of it, or had lawyers argue their way out of it.
All right. Chris, you want to hang out and do some news with us?
Absolutely. I'd love to.
All right. We'll take a quick break. We'll come back. We'll do Gina with the news right after this.
Give me the news with Grad. News with Gina Grad. Breaking, viral, weird crime, protest, politics. Give me news with Gina Grad. Stuff they saw on TMZ. Joe Biden, Kamala. Meet news with Gina Grad.
The news with Gina Grad.
We'll just start off with a quick follow-up with Bob Odenkirk. Good news, he's in stable condition, according to his reps. The Better Call Saul star was hospitalized on Tuesday. We talked about that. He collapsed on the set in New Mexico. Wednesday, his team issued a statement reading, "We can confirm Bob is in stable condition after experiencing a heart-related incident." His son, Nate, tweeted he's going to be okay. They thought it was a little touch and go there, but he's okay. And he's 58, like I said, shooting the 6th and final season of Better Call Saul, and that is good news.
Yeah, good. Glad he's all right.
Now,
or better.
Some not so good news.
Oh, come on.
Ron Popeil.
Oh, yeah.
Infomercial king.
Ronco.
Inventor of the Showtime rotisserie, the pocket fisherman, the list goes on and on. He died. He was 86. His family says they told TMZ that Popeil died Wednesday at Cedars-Sinai here in L.A. after suffering some kind of a medical emergency. Known for the catchphrases, set it and forget it, and my favorite, but wait, there's more. He created the concept of the infomercial. In the early 50s, he and a partner produced a minute-long black and white commercial for $500. That's according to his site. Among Ron's inventions that are in the Smithsonian, by the way, Mr. Microphone.
Oh.
Loves the Mr.
Hey, good
Microphone.
looking.
We'll be back to pick you up later.
Yeah,
That's right.
Yes.
You couldn't escape those commercials when I was young.
Right. The Popeil Pocket Fisherman, the smokeless ashtray, and the hair in a can. The spray.
Yeah, but was that top coverage?
GLH9.
GLH.
Great looking hair formula number 9. His father, Sam, invented the Chopomatic and the Vegomatic, which were sold through Ronco.
I used to watch, first off, all these commercials. I never bought anything because no one had a credit card in my family. And then it was like COD, and that starts with the word cash, and we're not doing that. So we'd rather OD than give out cash. But it was always, so I just sit and stare at these things. Like, how do you get these things? Pocket fisherman. There was, Chris, the one with the glass. Was that a Popeil thing where you'd cut your bottles and then sand the rim and then make your own? You'd make your own glass out of. You'd make your own tumblers out of
drinking glasses,
out of Coke bottles or wine bottles or whatever.
The greatest gift you will ever give to mom, dad,
bottle and jar
it's
cutter.
The Ronco bottle and jar cutter.
Oh, I was so enamored with this.
Throwaway bottles and jars into decorative glassware, centerpieces, thousands of things. Emery cloth is included to make
sand
glasses
it.
drinking
Cut your
smooth.
tongue.
A hobby for dad, craft for the kids, or great gift for mom. The Ronco bottle and jar cutter, still only $7.77.
It says, first off, this is a notion that we'd be selling something to cut glass so that you could get glasses that everyone already had.
Yeah, could you not buy glasses then?
Well,
Adam's parents couldn't.
That's true.
There was a lot of like, if you go to the Arco and you fill up, then you get one Rams cup.
Right.
You know, like there's a lot of stupid stuff to earn your way into a whole set of the, the Rams defensive line or some nonsense like that. But
my grandpa had dozens of those 49ers ones.
Oh, really? Yeah.
That martini glasses was all he had.
Oh, really?
Yes.
That tells a story.
You like martinis, huh?
Fucking Manhattan. He drank about
wow. Pocket fisherman I like. Top coverage, I can't remember if that was him or not. Mr. Microphone. The best part about Mr. Microphone is not the black man scatting alone walking down the street. Not the Mercedes 450 convertible that already had 5 people in it where the guy was explaining, we'll be back to pick you up. It's like there's already 5 people in a 2-seater. The part where they're talking about it's great for parties and it's great for school and it's great for barbecues, and they go, and for professionals. And there's someone sitting there playing flamenco guitar, and it's like, I don't know if I don't know if this is professional.
It doesn't get the high notes that well.
Yeah, you got
the
me.
bass is a little,
Yeah, I don't know if professionals are using this equipment to record, but you got me with the party and you got me with the car.
With the car is fun.
Mm-hmm.
That Filipino weightlifter you referenced, let's talk about her.
First gold.
In 97 years, thanks to Hitalin Diaz, who finished by lifting an Olympic record of 280 pounds. And we have some video. You guys
dare you.
The country, by the way, is so excited about her win that she's been awarded about $600,000 and 2 houses donated by real estate companies. Team Philippines sent do we have it, by the way? Team Philippines sent 19 athletes to Tokyo, and if anyone else brings home a gold, they will also get money and a new home. So that's the new incentive.
She's like 120 pounds, right?
Will it be gold in Tokyo? Get up. Halfway
Clean
through.
and jerk. Gets it up to the shoulders and pushes it up and slides under it.
Wow. Did she jerk it?
Wow.
She jerked it.
And how?
She did it. That was what was it? That was 280 something?
280. Well, yeah. They do it in kilograms, but it's about 280.
I thought each plate was like 45. Is there another size or something?
Aren't there like 60-pound plates or something? I don't know. Who the fuck do I know?
I don't know, but that's
from
the
my
conversion.
extensive weightlifting history.
Because the two articles I found are both in kilograms, so they're not really dealing with.
But yeah,
pounds.
The clean and jerk, 126 kilograms, nearly 278 pounds.
Oh.
There you go.
So the Olympic plates, because there's 2 on each side. Like normally out here, they're 45 each side, and then the bar weighs 45. So then that makes the whole thing 99, 180. The whole thing is like 225 or something like that. But the Olympic plates must weigh more.
Yeah, I think so.
I guess.
I think there's competition ones.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right.
So good on you, Chris. Let's keep talking about the Olympics in another way. Pizza Hut restaurants in Japan are celebrating the Olympics by offering something they call the Decathlon Pizza. That is 10 types of meat on top. And here's what you get. We're a great influence. Bacon, thick sliced bacon, aged bacon, charcoal grilled beef ribs.
We're not going to rest until Japan is fat.
That's right.
Like that's our final.
So
that'll be our
frontier.
lasting legacy as Americans.
Yes.
Like, look, we've conquered the world, but
now you have
still,
obesity.
There's a nation that is not fat.
They don't have enough hypertension.
They're not fat enough.
No.
And we got to fatten them up.
That's right. With beef bulgogi, teriyaki chicken, pulled pork, pepperoni, rough sliced sausage, and Italian sausage. And to compare, our puny little meat lovers only has 6 types.
Well, I want to say this. I'll get back. We had a hypothetical threesome conversation, Chris, that you could possibly participate in. The point is this. I would like a threesome. I would not like a 14th-some. Do you know what I mean? Because at a certain point, I don't know what's attached to who.
Right,
you
that's
know
a
what I mean? And
Somebody's going to be disappointed.
Yeah.
The vast majority of the participants are going to be disappointed. But the point is, it's too big. 10 meats on a pizza is too distracting.
Yeah,
2,
variety of bacon.
3, maybe max. Like, you need to focus.
And is the crust at that point even architecturally sound enough to handle 10 meats?
It's got rebar reinforced.
It has to.
Yeah.
Isn't it Japan?
Breadsticks.
Which is the Asian country that like KFC is a really big holiday meal? So there's a line out the door for either, for our Thanksgiving or for Christmas. It's like a delicacy.
Chris?
We've got to stop doing this to other countries.
Yeah, I know. All what they do. They gave us ramen and sushi, and we're exporting KFC and 14 stuffed crust pizza. Like we're going to win this race.
This is the new imperialism.
This is the meat lusters.
That's right.
I know what to get you for Christmas, so Brian, back off because I'm claiming this. To promote their new electric Mach-E GT.
KFC has become a Christmas tradition in Japan.
It's crazy. Ford has created a fragrance that smells like gasoline. This is apparently...
It's called gasoline.
It exists.
Because Ford says 70% of electric car buyers say they'll miss the smell of gas. Ford says the fragrance is, quote, designed to please the nose of any wearer. A high-end fragrance that fuses smoky accords, aspects of rubber, and even an animal element to give a nod to the Mustang heritage. Ford also says the smell of gasoline ranked as a more popular scent than wine and cheese and was almost identical to the aroma of used books in their research.
I told you guys Farley. What's Farley's first name? From Ford. And Chris Farley's cousin runs Ford.
It's so great.
Which is crazy. I know. And Jim Farley.
Callahan Motors.
And he looks just like Chris Farley.
Yeah.
He's
Strong genes.
He's the nicest guy in the world. He's hardcore. And he shows up.
Yep, he's a Farley.
He's a Farley. And he shows up at the track at Laguna Seca for the Rolex Historics, and he's got his Cobra, and he's racing.
Sweet.
And he's a hardcore racing dude, and he's the nicest guy in the world. But we'll see him in a couple of weeks when we get out there, and I will ask him about this.
You should ask for it. Because I like the smell of gasoline. I mean, am I alone here?
I don't mind it.
I don't want to be doused in it, but I like
It's
it.
saying that petroleum smell like a Sharpie, right? Like it's got the intoxicating.
And I'm
You're not
told,
gonna spend all day huffing it, but
aren't
you might.
Somebody might. I was also told that smell is added because otherwise it'd be really dangerous if gasoline didn't have a scent.
I heard that with natural gas, but I didn't know was for liquid gas.
Maybe it's both. Is that right?
I've only heard it for the natural gas.
Oh, fuck you.
Yeah. You're normally talking in front of your friends, but we know things here, Gina.
I know.
Just
Big
get to roll
boys. I'm here,
forward,
the big boys.
Yeah,
That's right.
after Germany won World War II,
I thought it was for gasoline,
the
too.
Führer went on to open a
Thank
franchise of Chick-fil-A. Well, tell us
The
more,
national
Gina.
holiday.
Wow.
I was right about KFC, you
A
motherfuckers.
Christmas holiday dinner.
Yes!
In Thailand.
It is.
Well, I like the smell of gas as well.
Yeah,
so I'm with you, and I like this idea.
Get you some.
Mm-hmm.
This is something that I think Chris would be interested in, maybe already knows
Sure.
the story. The Tampa Police Department has opened an internal investigation into a group of cops who spent 3 hours enjoying themselves at a strip club as part of a undercover operation that they cannot provide evidence for.
Mm-hmm.
The unspecified number of officers spent $420 of the department's money on drinks and lap dances. They claimed it was necessary. The only problem is when they were asked what their objective was, every officer gave a different answer. They also said the operation netted no arrests, no new leads. So Internal Affairs is on the case trying to figure out if this was legitimate or if they're just looking for a good time. And you should get Kellison on them.
Well, Bob Kraft said to cut him some slack.
Oh, that's fine.
Number one, they're only human. They're just as God created them.
But didn't you pull this exact ruse?
For the Man Show?
Yeah.
How dare you?
Scouting.
Well, yeah, we went to Crazy Girls in Hollywood. What of it? We were scouting for juggy talent
And
for the
who
Man
did you bring
Show.
back with you?
Some crabs.
Mr. Chlamydia.
We didn't bring any. We didn't get any names.
Nothing good.
We had a few drinks, but we had to fit in. You know, I had to blend in by doing tons of body shots.
Right.
And then the bill.
Otherwise, they'd make you.
Yeah, the bill was I don't know $1,400, but that was like in like $1999, and then we presented it to the producers. So they had to make us whole.
When you got away with it, he had to double down.
Well, that was Daniel's move. That's Danny Two Sheets from me, Jimmy, and Daniel all shared an office, and that's what I most appreciated about. I love gumption. You know what I mean? Good old fashioned chutzpah.
Moxie.
He reminded me of a young me, even though we're the same age. So at some point, Stone Stanley, the producer, said, "Fine, we'll reimburse you your $1,400 you dropped over at Crazy Girls with no names and no recruits and no talent, no anything." But there's like, this is the last time we're going to do it. So don't try it again. And Daniel got the news and he stood up with purpose. And he went, "This is bullshit. We got to go over there." Because their office was like, we're going to go over there and tell them, "No way." And like he was like Norma Ray or something. But I was like, Daniel, they're fucking repaying us. It's fucking
let it go.
Me and Jimmy just sat there and went, "You're going alone. We're not going with you," with a straight face. Not doing that.
No, it was insane. For any fans of The Exorcist, I got some good news for you. Variety reports that...
Oh, I saw that.
Yeah, Universal has paid $400 million to buy a new Exorcist trilogy. Ellen Burstyn, who starred in the 1973 original, will reprise her role as Chris McNeil. The first of the 3 horror movies is expected to open in 2023. Other installments could land directly on the Peacock streaming service. Also in the cast is Leslie Odom Jr. Your daughter knows who that is from Hamilton.
Yeah, Leslie Odom. She's hot.
Nope. Whose character
a little
tracks
long in
down.
the tooth, but all right.
No word if Linda Blair is involved, but why not?
They try to do this so often. The batting average seems low.
Yeah.
You know, you do this thing where you go, this property, this intellectual property is worth $400 million.
Right.
But but only if you execute it properly, because if the first one's 21 on Rotten Tomatoes, no one's going to the next 3. Like, you have to get the right director and writers, and it has to be good. Otherwise, the property doesn't mean anything.
The one that they did really well with, I guess at this point, is 2 years ago, was The Invisible Man, which should have been. I mean, who cares? Who in this state gives a shit about The Invisible Man? That's
that was a good movie though.
Semi-obscure. I mean, the property is what I
Yeah.
meant. Like semi-obscure from the 1950s. Whatever
Earlier,
it was. Yeah, whatever it was. And it was a legit good movie because it executed
Right.
well by a good writer and director.
Yeah.
Right. And everyone who enjoyed that movie doesn't care if there's any connection to the past at
I
all.
didn't know there was.
Standalone.
And I feel like I'm starting to sound like Cliff Clavin today, but Samuel L. Jackson was in The Exorcist 3, and I think that was like his first or second role. No, the first role was Coming to America, right? And then The Exorcist.
He was in that movie. I don't know
I guess.
I don't know about first, but he was in that
And I
movie.
think I think they dubbed over his lines. I really do feel like I'm making this up, but I'm not. The company has announced, and by company I mean Walmart, it will pay $100 of college tuition and books for associates who enroll in their Live Better You education program. They're the largest U.S. private employer. They already have an existing $1 a day fee for associates who participate in the program, but that's over, totally free. According to Walmart's press release, quote, this means approximately 1.5 million part-time and full-time Walmart and Sam's Club associates in the U.S. can earn college degrees or learn trade skills without the burden of education debt. Walmart plans to invest almost $1 billion over the next 5 years in this program.
I was thinking about this last night after I went to the fire department or the firehouse because I was like, I wanted to be a fireman when I was 19. And now we're at a time when you walk down the street, every third window says help wanted. And, you know, we were at Fisherman's Wharf in San Francisco and the In-N-Out Burger said, we'll pay $19 an hour. Like, they were like, we got to get people in here. I think even the McDonald's by my house had a thing that was like $15 an hour. Like, everyone's like, please.
Get Sonny over there.
We need workers. And I was thinking, God damn it. When I graduated in 82, I went to that firehouse in North Hollywood. They were like, buzz off. I knew someone who was a merchant marine. I was like, I want to be a merchant marine. Like, couldn't do it. Went to supermarkets, like, not hiring. Like, the worst you can have for 18 and 19-year-olds that are completely hapless and aren't going to college is no hiring. I would have taken any job. And I couldn't even onto construction sites, like just asking if you need labor. They were like, nah, we're full up. Like, we're good.
Have we ever talked about this? You had to have brought it up. We have to have talked about it at some point because my brain immediately goes to, did you ever consider signing up for the armed forces?
First off, weird haircut seemed like to me. Haircut was part of the deal back then. Now no one gives a shit about haircut, but they buzz your head off and you look like a narc is basically what you're going to have. To me, when I was 18, 4 years sounded like the longest time. I went to high school for 3 years. It's like, you're going to sign up for high school plus a year, like commitment. I tried to sign up for the Coast Guard Reserve. I was like, how did that work? It was like 2 years and then something. I should have done it. All I did was fuck around for the next 2 or 3 years anyway.
Because I would think that for someone like you, it would have seemed kind of badass to do that.
It was weird. I came from a very liberal family, and Army was
Football was already tenuous.
Yeah.
Suddenly they care what you do and where you are?
No, they wouldn't. No, they wouldn't have cared. I was in it.
Yeah.
I grew up, Richard Nixon in Vietnam and all, and it was really at an all-time low. Like, there was, now they made a couple of good war movies, and there's a lot of talk about these guys are heroes and they deserve it or whatever.
SEAL Team 6 and
Michael Bay alone.
We were just past the being spat on, being called baby killer. Being in the Army, this would have been the early 80s, but there was a decade where it was essentially like being a cop now. Like, really? How did you want to deal with that shit? Having buckets of stuff poured on your head and kicked and shit?
Well, I was in that narrow age group where just before he turned 18, Carter had abolished the registration, and I turned 21 before Reagan brought it back. So I never even had to register for the draft. It wasn't even in the realm of reality.
Wow.
They were talking about, I saw some story about the draft for women. And
not interested.
I know, but I thought, why not? Everything's technological now, and this whole thing was like women are doing it for themselves.
Well, and you always think about Israel, and it's like gender means nothing. Like, when you hit 18, you go for 2 years, and they're badass and they're hot.
Yeah,
so why not?
I know.
A court has ordered Kelly Clarkson to pay her ex-husband, Brandon Blackstock, this monthly amount in child support, and boy, he's getting a pretty penny. Each and every month, Kelly must Venmo him $195,601.
How do you transfer that to your bank?
By the way,
601.
A disappointing number for Blackstock. He wanted twice that amount. Kelly must pay another $1.25 million.
Blackmail, more like.
And that's right. To cover her ex-husband's legal costs, according to court documents, Kelly takes home each month more than $1.5 million. So post-divorce, Brandon Blackstock will backburner his career. He was Blake Shelton's manager, and he's going to pivot to full-time rancher and rodeo sponsor.
Oh, nice.
Because Kelly wanted to sell their Montana ranch, but the divorce judge denied it. So he's going full ranch life.
I wonder, tell me how much is, so of course we all scoff at this. He's, $45 grand a month for child, child support. It's like, he needs 200 grand a month. No, who needs 200 grand a month? Now, it's super weak, lame, and pathetic as a dude. How come with chicks, no problemo? Like there's no judging going on when we flip the script and the chicks are getting the 200 grand a month or the 45, whatever. I mean, we don't have the disdain we have for this,
No, that's
guy.
true.
Look at this guy go, that's fucking pathetic, dude. Come on, get your shit together. Or you have a job or go work a job or what have you. But I wonder, maybe there's a little OJ situation going on here.
Do tell.
I shall. Famously they interviewed one of the OJ jurors who's dumb, and she's like, "Yeah, this was payback for Rodney King. Like, we just did it. We didn't think he was innocent. It was payback time. This judge has to see a bunch of 63-year-old Beverly Hills plastic surgeons who got cleaned out by 27-year-old skanks who just fucking married him for the money all day in his courtroom, and then he sees the chick who's rich and the dude, and he goes, huh.
Make an example.
Well, now I'm going OJ on your ass. Like, we're going to flip the script now. Because I just had a bunch of cases where I gave a whole bunch of chicks way too much money who didn't deserve it, but by the law.
Yeah.
You know what's good for the goose.
I get it, and it's funny, I've never talked about this publicly because we never talked about it, but I know that this is the world's worst timing to go into this, but in another life, in another career, I would love to go into men's advocacy for divorce and the family law system, and I can't think of a worse time to say that out loud.
You're going to get married.
Yeah.
But I mean, just like you're taking the man's side and but I've seen some shit up close that is truly, literally unbelievable.
But what? I don't get the laws. Like, it's just like, well, you get half. Like, why is that random?
I'm with you.
Why is that across the board? Like, I mean, it's kind of in the ilk of saying, I got a bottle of wine, it was $25. I got a bottle of wine, it was $325, and now I'm going to tip 20%.
Right.
It's
Still
like
a bottle of
same
wine.
cork,
Bottle
same
of grape
thing,
juice.
same work. Like, yeah, work it out. Like, how much money did he have? How much money does he earn? What was she doing when he met him? What's the average income for a Los Angelino or Californian? Like, just fucking work it out. I don't get the part where it's like, well, you lived in a mansion, now you still have to live in a mansion.
The manner to which you're accustomed.
Well, it's called child support, not child lavishment. You know what I mean? It's got the word support. Like, when you think, like, what's it take to support a child? Well, it's like you need sustenance and you need clothing. And good, there's a Target up the street. And good, you can make a pot of beans. Like, we need to support this child.
Well, and it goes to the child, and there's no way to prove that. I think, I came up with this a while back. My friends didn't like it. I don't know why. I thought it was kind of brilliant. That wouldn't it be smart and easier for everybody if child support came in the form of like an HSA card? Like, it works on this
because this certain things.
Right. It works on this thing for a child. Oh, it doesn't work on vodka. Like,
Tuition.
It doesn't work on,
You can't buy
diamond necklace.
gummy bears with it.
Just a thought.
Yeah, no, you need to support. Like, I feel like your fiduciary financial duty is to make sure that these people don't fall into destitute poverty and have to live on the street. The kid needs to be clothed. He needs to be in a safe environment, medical care, like whatever it is. But we don't need to sit around and eat caviar with this kid all day. That's what I do.
That's right. That's what we do on this show.
So this guy had a career, right? Like
he was Blake Shelton's manager.
Yeah, all right, whatever.
Hey, are Kelly Clarkson and Blake Shelton still on The Voice together?
Yeah,
that's got to be
just
awkward.
saw promo for it.
Yeah.
I hope they seat them apart. A 14-year-old China boy in China wasn't happy.
How long does she have to pay him?
I don't know.
Or 400? Was it 200 grand a month?
It's 200 a month. Yeah.
200 a month.
TFN. Further notice. This boy in China was not happy with his father giving him household jobs to do, so he went to the police and accused his dad of illegal child labor. The father said he was sick of seeing his son's face constantly
In
buried in
China,
his
the
phone.
cops are like, get in line. Come on. Hold on.
Put it in the pile.
I can't
gotta go
hear
to the
you. The
iPhone
sweatshop
factory.
across the street's making too much noise from the crying,
The
from
kids
crying
jumping
voices
out
of the
into the
kids.
nets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, what was your beef again, boy?
So the son responded by sneaking out of the house, going to the police, said he wanted his father charged. Officers walked the boy back home, spoke to the father, who was shocked that his son actually went through with it, went to the police. The officer told him that household chores don't constitute child labor, so there's no legal problem here.
Wow.
Can you imagine dropping a dime on your dad like that?
No, but my dad would have picked it up immediately because that's a lot of money in the Carolla house. If I dropped the dime on my dad, he would have hit the deck. Yeah. He would have chased that rolling dime and hit his head and knocked himself out. I always used to make Dr. Drew laugh because Dr. Drew would always go, Dr. Drew's, his parents had money, but his dad was like the depression product of depression. And he'd always be like, well, you want new shoes? You got new shoes last year. You're going to drive us. He'd always say, you're going to drive us to the poorhouse. You're going to drive us to the poorhouse. And Drew, he said to me one day, he goes, your dad ever threatened that to you? And I go, no, we lived in the poorhouse. We didn't need to go anywhere. We didn't need to start the car. We were there.
We were already there.
He knew it. There's no threat.
No reason to say it.
That's right.
Here's something else interesting coming out of China. Engineers in China have developed a super train capable of traveling over 370 miles an hour, which would make it the fastest ground vehicle in the world. The train uses electromagnetic force to float. So there's no contact between the rail and the actual train. And at 370, this thing's faster than Japan's best bullet train that can only do 249 an hour. Miles per hour. China's newest train is expected to be ready within the next decade. It doesn't even touch the track.
This doesn't exist.
But this sounds like something Disney could do, so why couldn't they do it?
They're just fucking with us because they know right now Chris Hansen has a 19-year-old Uber Camry waiting out front with cloth interior that some guy booted in last night. And I got to drive him back to the hotel.
Oh, I feel dirty now.
But
I got the
I've been talking about these fucking bullet trains since I was in junior high.
Yeah.
Like, well, we're going to be a train. It's going to go right to Vegas. It's going to go right to the Strip. It's going right through Nevada. You're going to be there. You'll be able to start gambling as soon as you like bullet train. We got nothing.
But they have them in China. I've been on them.
Yeah.
You can get from, Shanghai to the airport and like that. It's crazy.
And we have a thing where we're building some sort of monorail to LAX that'll be completed when
2.9 miles. Right?
Son's prostate needs to be removed. And it's like, what year is it? We've been talking about these trains, these bullet trains, and the future, and it never shows up.
That's a good old versus new. The train.
Right. The old-timey one. And
we got all excited when they did the high speed on the East Coast, because it could go 150 miles an hour. Well, it can only go 150 miles an hour for like short bursts because the tracks are decrepit.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had our whole bullet train debacle out here. I remember that lovely chapter in California where we did nothing or we laid some track to get from
studies.
Yeah, with some place that no one from Merced to Fresno or some place no one's ever wanted to go to or from. And
there's like maybe a correctional facility up there, and that's about it.
It's weird. We're in California. It's funny because California, we're always talking about being on the vanguard of everything. Like, we lead and everyone follows. Like we set all the trends, and the rest of the nation and the world, they dance to the tune of our piper. We don't do shit over here. We just have a clogged freeway and a fucking truck that's broken down. Like where is all our shit? Where's all the bullet trains? Where's all the technology?
Yeah, even the good hacking isn't done here.
For Christ's sake, I was talking to. I was talking to my son, who just got back from Disneyland a couple days ago, and I was like, "Oh, what'd you do? Did you do Pirates of the Caribbean, Matterhorn?" And we started looking. What were some of the original rides over there at Disneyland? Because originally, I think 55, mid 50s it opened, but one of the very early entries to Disneyland was the monorail.
Oh, right.
That
monorail.
What year was the goddamn monorail? And they put the monorail up in like 1963.
In Tomorrowland.
Right, it's the wave of the future.
And they showed us like by 1980, everyone will own their own.
Well, we were supposed to have
like,
jetpacks by now, according to the social studies books we had.
I know. Now we got those weird water weenies that rich guys can ride on when they're outside the yacht in Bermuda, but it's not a practical,
not for every
not a
man.
practical form of transportation. 1959, we had the monorail, and the monorail looked pretty good.
Sleek,
It looked like you'd think one would look, and it's right smack dab here in the middle of California, and there it is. There's your model.
And there it shall stay forevermore.
Sign of the times. Haven't they gotten rid of the monorail?
What?
Yes,
I
no,
don't
Chris?
know.
Anyone?
It's the saddest thing I've ever heard.
I think I got rid of it.
It was just a novelty of going.
Or maybe it was the gondola. Remember there was a gondola
Yes.
to take you over Disneyland?
Yes, the funicular or whatever it was called. But yes, that was a thing. I don't know if that
is gone.
That's gone.
For sure people died on that.
So the monorail is 62 years old.
Wow.
And here we are.
Here we are. We got some track that we laid somewhere in the desert, but then we folded tent.
Can't even get to Vegas on it.
Too much work.
Yeah.
Also, I know they had at some point redone the Space Mountain ride, but before that, it was 100% the 50s version of the 70s.
Yeah.
Like this is what the
future will
future
look
looked like in the 70s. But now I think everything's nice. I don't know. I haven't been there a while. TMZ reports that former, ACS show guest Rachel Uchitel is claiming in a new lawsuit that the dating site Seeking Arrangement dropped her as a spokesperson after allegations that Florida Congressman Matt Gaetz was a member of that site and paid young women for sexual encounters, allegedly with an underage female.
You ever run into Matt Gaetz, Chris?
Not yet.
For the new season.
It's early, though.
Love sweet tea.
You guys could have some sort of competition on who has the better head of hair. Because both of you. You wear it, you kind of flip it back. Devil may care, but with a lot of prep. It's got a good... good look.
This is the hair you got to be just green with envy over. This has like the flip to it.
Oh, yeah. Did you ever have feathered hair?
Not really. I mean, I'm of an age where I had it down to my shoulders for a couple of summers because that's what we did in the 70s. But, I've had TV hair since I was on TV, and so since I was 21.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
On TV since 21.
Yeah.
So you have to have TV hair. But you had the capability to have hair that you could flip and move around.
Well, I have a guy who cuts it who can make it work.
Make it
I'm
so.
not I don't like a lot of maintenance in the morning. It's like boom, boom, and done. And it's got to
Good-looking people always say that.
That's how they are. Just roll out of bed, and
So
the hot chicks
normal.
eat
No,
whatever
you don't
they
want to see me
want.
after I've rolled out of bed. That's not a pretty sight.
Well, let's get a goddamn bullet train.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
Jesus Christ. All right, let's do one more.
All right, let's see. So I think we have a picture of this. You can sell anything, and you can sell it for a lot of money for no reason. A 13-year-old from Queensland, Australia, is set to receive $20,000 after finding a puffy Dorito in her bag of Doritos. Apparently on June 11th, this
Does it look
girl,
like Jesus Christ?
not even a little bit. Riley Stewart posted a video on TikTok showing a chip that kind of was like just bloated looking. The video went viral, 4 million people viewing it. Text on the video says, "I found a puffy Dorito. Is this valuable or should I just eat it?" TikTokers online encouraged her to put it on eBay, so she did. The bid was up to $100,000.
Up to $100,000?
$100,000. The listing was eventually taken down, but as reward for Riley's entrepreneurial spirit, Doritos is offering her $100,000. There is a market for these foods. Back in 2004, a grilled cheese sandwich that appeared to feature the face of the Virgin Mary that sold for $28,000. And recently, there was a chicken nugget that looked like this character from a video game, the Among Us or whatever. That sold for $100,000 on eBay, a chicken nugget.
Well, first off,
And then what
Chinese
you
are
do
going to
with
knock
it?
them off, right? They're going to start knocking this shit off.
I mean,
they
you
got
have
to do
to.
it. Why was it taken down after it got up to $100,000 on eBay?
I don't know.
Probably unverified bids.
Maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but they wanted to. I'm sure it wasn't to advertise their product. They just wanted to reward her entrepreneurial spirit. They're writing her a check. Put it in the museum.
Would be if you were Frito-Lay or whoever owns the Doritos brand. It would behoove you to get an artist or a sculptor and put together a chip that looked like Abe Lincoln or Barack Obama or something, you know what I mean? Or the Virgin Guadalupe, and just spread them around a little bit.
Very
Now,
Willy Wonka.
most stoners are just going to eat them and never know. But
Who looks at their chip?
But every 3 months or so, someone's going to pull something out. Then the local news. Here comes Chris Hansen with his hair. He's got
his camera crew in his hair.
Camera crew. He's blowing the lid off this shit.
Then you get to visit the Dorito factory.
You get a whole bunch of free pub, and we're talking about it. Like, it couldn't hurt.
It's genius.
Get on it. Maybe that's what they did.
Yeah, I don't know if it's immoral or dangerous or anything. It's
who
just
does it hurt?
Do a chip,
It's
make
a
it look
victimless
like
crime.
somebody, and throw it in there.
Smart.
All right, let's bring it home.
You got it. I'm Gina Grad, and that's the news.
KEWL.
That was the
What
news.
is that from?
You just said it. That's how the Perverted Justice kids would talk to try and hook the...
Cool. KEWL.
Oh, it does sound like someone's giving a call sign.
I thought it was a call sign.
97.3 KEWL.
KEWL.
Yeah.
You're good at imaging.
I do so much radio that if I hear K at the front of anything,
gotta be a radio
and
station,
there's 3 letters after it, it's KMET or KLOS.
KEWL. That'll be a new meme.
Classic rock. All right. Let's see. The podcast, Predators I've Caught with Chris Hansen, it's available now on Apple and Spotify. And the YouTube show, Have a Seat with Chris Hansen. And you can follow Chris on YouTube and Twitter as well. Me, Minneapolis, coming up, Acme Comedy Co., and that is August 27th and 28th. And then live shows everywhere, Royal Oak, Michigan, and Kansas City, Missouri, Gina Grad, and Solana Beach out here in Chicago, Park West. Just go to adamcarolla.com for all the live shows.
KEWL.
And until next time, this is Adam Carolla for Chris Hansen, Gina Grad, and Bob Bryan. Say it. Mahalo.
And I'm 13. Are you cool with that? KEWL.